Hello, and how are you? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. This is Kenny here, and today we're talking about Pap Smear. Um, One of the things we can do for ourselves as adults, as professionals, and whatever we are doing is to take care of ourselves. And I know that often we fall short. I also fall short in a few other things. In one way or the other, we don't really take care of ourselves because we have other things to do, and adult life is quite is busy, so we tend to forget, and that's why we are reminding ourselves some of the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves, and one of them is Pap Smear, which in my own opinion is mandatory, is important, is compulsory even for every woman over the age of 20, over the age of, let's say, 30, but something somewhere around that range, you should have done your first Pap Smear. And what is Pap Smear even, and why is it relevant? So when we're talking about Pap Smear, it is a procedure where a little bit of a sample of your cervix is taken and sent to the laboratory or via other methods to find out if there is cervical cancer. We all know that the diagnosis of cancer is very devastating. Is it the story? I mean, the news that you're probably dying, or maybe the possibility of having to go for surgery or for chemo, or God forbid, if they say that it is beyond it is advanced and there's nothing they can do, or if it has spread. So it's quite devastating. And Pap smear is a gift. Like, just take this gift, and if you do it, you are not likely to come down with those advanced level of disease, if ever you even ever get a cancer. And you are not even likely to come down with cancer, because in the pre-malignant phase, before it becomes a cancer, you have been able to pick it up through Pap smear. And the other beautiful thing about Pap smear is that cervical cancer is quite forgiving. It's a very slow growing cancer. And unless you have conditions, maybe like HIV or other debilitating or immunocompromising condition like that, that might make it to go a little bit faster, it's usually very slow growing. And before it can even convert into malignancy, into a cancer, it's like giving you a long period of pre-cancer phase of the disease. And and the big problem about this is that as a person, you are not likely to know if you have cervical cancer. You can't know. You don't even know. You just live with it because you can't look at your cervix. You cannot see your womb. The cervix is the mouth of the womb. You cannot see it. You're not even thinking about it. And by the time you start having symptoms, maybe by the time you start having pains, or maybe lower abdominal pain, or seeing blood, or having that feeling of bugginess or heaviness down there, it's already too late. So you've got to do something when it's easy to identify the problem and to actively prevent it. So that is where Pap smear comes to play. So what you're trying to do with Pap smear is that you want to check your cervix through laboratory methods, and to identify if there is a growth, a condition there that can become a cancer in the future, and then you can do something about it now. So that's the beautiful thing about Pap smear. And so the process of having a Pap smear is a little bit uncomfortable, because you're going to put some of those forceps inside the vagina and all those things, and it's a little bit very uncomfortable, because it's kind of it's intruding your own very private space, but it's something that has to be done. The recommendation is that by the time you are 21, you should get your first Pap smear. The recommendation or the protocol differs from country to country, so you should know what's happening in your own environment. But usually, the general consensus is that between the age of 21 and 30, you should have had your first Pap smear. And subsequently, maybe 5 to 10 years later, depending on the country or depending on the protocol, you should have your second Pap smear, and maybe your third, fourth, and fifth. So just find out what is happening, what is the protocol, what is the time frame in your environment. But basically, that is what that is the time slot for having a pap smear. So if you've reached the age of 30 and you've not had your pap smear, I would encourage you to talk to your doctor, your healthcare professional, your nurse or nurse professional or whoever is in the healthcare in your environment, and let them know you've not done your pap smear, and they will be able to guide you appropriately. Because once you do your pap smear, it saves lives and it makes a lot of difference.